Insider threat. We've already spoken about insider threat before and said that it is one of the most dangerous, most pernicious, hardest to detect threats to an information system. Insider threat is the vulnerability of information to known employees or contractors who have been granted access. So just think about this for a second. Insiders, it's your employees. It's the ones that see your information. It's the ones that know the value of that information, and potential illicit uses from it. It's the ones with access, say, to the client's bank account numbers. And so an insider with bad intentions can be considered to be the highest threat to information security. As I said, you can have all the controls you want to avoid, copying from a screen, to avoid copying on an information system, but someone who can simply take a picture of a screen and then bring it back home will still be able to have, a certain copied view of that information. Even worse, honestly, people can remember, bank account numbers, even if they're not taking pictures. If there is any view of a valuable bit of information, then it could be misused. Knowing who the beneficial owner is to, a large amount of money put in, an offshore country. So I'm thinking, say, here about the Panama Papers, where, an organization, had its papers, had its beneficial owners to its funds leaked, and, it created a worldwide scandal. Now, if you are that certain organization, then, your aim would be to avoid leaking, say, these beneficial owners to this very confidential information. Other threats, the collusion of several insiders. So collusion is indeed when, different people work together, 2, 3, 4, or many more, to, in this case, bypass, say, segregation of duties controls. Of course, we know what segregation of duties controls is. It's when your whole tasks are designed so that, some tasks that are incompatible with others are not performed by the same person. But if you have several different people working together, say, the programmer and the person who has access to the production data, then, well, collusion goes around this control and can bypass segregation of duties. What can we do about this? Organizations which are serious about this can put in place an insider threat program. This aims to address risks from insider, and it can include assessments of information security risks from insiders. And here's the important thing. It should usually have a very high level of so-called buy-in, so support, often up to a board level, but in any case from management, because this is a very sensitive program. It's a bit like internal audit. We can see extremely confidential information, and an insider threat program has to have this kind of high-level support, because we don't want to say that, we're suspecting our employees. But if it is at a high enough level, it is saying that we're not saying that particular employees are under suspicion. If, someone learns that, there's a certain, let's call it, not investigation, but a few queries about, a certain employee of a company, they might seem personally threatened why is this, say internal auditor or a person from the IT department going towards me and telling me about insider threat? Well, if it's an organization-wide thing, then you can say, okay, this is general to the entire company, to the entire organization. It is not about you personally. Our board has required us to review this. Our management has has given their full support to this program. So it's very important for insider threat programs to kind of have a large support. So you'd assess the risks from insiders, and then you'd think about different preventive and detective controls. And I'm not going to repeat them all here. They're too wide. We've seen many different kind of controls, both preventive and detective, previous to this section right here. So I would just like to say that many of those controls can also be applied to insider threat to the employees of an organization itself. One of the important parts is access restrictions, and I'd like to say physical access restrictions, not only physical, but access restrictions to certain, say, sensitive areas. I've worked in a bank, and I know that if I want to get inside the treasury room, I would, either need to make an appointment or, knock on the door so that they open up for me. Same thing for the internal audit department. Same thing for quite a few other departments that need to be, locked down. That really, should not be open to, just any employee walking in, because it's hard enough, restricting your data to just a few people and making sure that, that they'll be honest and won't copy anything. But it's even harder if any employee could say, just walk into the treasury room and, learn about the big trades that were made inside that room or overhear conversations. So access restriction, including physical kind, are, extremely important in this insider threat program. Employee awareness and training says that it's not that we're, suspecting you, but they have to understand that, we have this program in place. It's generally because, we're trying to catch, let's call it the bad apples, the people within an organization who might not be acting the most ethically. And so an awareness and training program can, aim to try to, increase, of course, the ethics of your organization, show that certain actions are not part of its culture, and also show that, well, we have this program in place. We want you to be aware of it. It's a bit like internal audit. When we do things, we want to be transparent about it. And so, awareness and training is definitely part of this. A review of hiring and outsourcing practices should include background checks. Now, check the regulations in your country and laws to see if this is actually possible. In some countries, it is not a possibility, but indeed, when possible, it's good to get an understanding of which employees have maybe committed acts that would be considered in certain countries felonies in regards to insider threat. And of course, including your background checks on your suppliers, say checking out any bad press or going to see if on say World Check, that's kind of a check on any potential fraudulent persons or suppliers, would be able to tell you if there are any let's just call them bad apples within the bunch.